If you've been following my channel, you know that I like to do comparison videos between the Axe FX and the Kemper and all different aspects, the amps and all kinds of things like that, showing off one versus the other. If you're new to the channel and you haven't seen any of that, check it out under my playlist, Gear Battle. You might enjoy it. Now, I absolutely love both of these units, and I can't imagine someone would be particularly disappointed if they purchased either one of them with the quality of it. But today I want to talk about this one aspect of the Fractal Axe FX that really makes it stand out, especially if you're a geeky sound tweaker like me. Since the early 90s, with the release of Roland's VG8, I have been obsessed with finding ways to create guitar sounds or sounds on the guitar that you wouldn't be able to come across by plugging a guitar just straight into an amp or through pedals on the floor and into an amp. I know most guitarists just hate that. They want to hear a sound that is at most some analog pedals on the floor. Even if they're digital, they want them to sound analog, usually plugged into a tube amp. And don't get me wrong, I do love me some good old tubey classic amp sounds. But I also like the ability to find new sounds that lead to new forms of expression that you wouldn't have found any other way, and that allow you to write music in ways that you may never have thought of before. I'm not adverse to things that are completely outside the realm of the normal traditional guitar. And if you agree with that, then the Axe FX is a playground like no other. Let's switch to the desk here and an instance of Axe Edit so you can see an example of what I'm talking about and what this one great aspect is that was in the title of my video. So that little clip you heard there was from a video I did about Stevie Ray Vaughan's style. You can check it out over here, something like that. And it's using the sound. You can see I have loaded up here an Axe Edit, just a simple Texas blues. But what you can see here is I have a couple of effects grayed out that are loaded in parallel. They're not in line with everything else. And this is what I'm talking about with the great power of the Axe FX. We'll start with this one here. You see I have a delay on top. And in channel A of this, or scene 1 of this Axe FX patch, whatever you want to call it, I have a basic reverb. It's just a medium spring for the basic blues stuff. And if I go over to scene number 2, that switches over to this stratocumulus, very, very high wash sound. Let me gray this out for a second again. I'll disengage the delay so you can hear just the reverb. It's got that beautiful prog rock, like gent, clean type of long-lasting, spacey reverb. Now, I wanted to do something with this sound where I was able to play a delay where you play the delay to a tempo and you have that kind of kickback from the delay. And if I turn it on, you can hear almost that Eddie Van Halen cathedral kind of thing going on. And the power of the parallel processing here is I didn't want the delayed signal to get caught up in the wash of the reverb because it's such a big reverb, but I still wanted to keep the atmosphere of the reverb. So if I did it in the studio, I would have to play the delay part on one track, copy the track, and then put the reverb on another track. But how am I going to do that live? With the Axe FX, I can do that by putting it in parallel here, having the signal out of the cab, run up to the delay, and then back out to the output again, bypassing the reverb, and then also have the reverb signal go. Now you see if I put this back in line here in front of it, I have to turn the mix down because it'll be all delay then. If I turn it down to something like that, it's reverbing the delayed signal. It has a completely different quality to it, and I can't get that subtle nuance that I get by having it in parallel. Now also, I can put it after the reverb if I wanted. Again, let me bring the mix down. But now the problem is that giant wash of a reverb is being delayed. It's caught up in the delay. And now the wash of the reverb goes on forever and ever. It's too much. I needed something where it processes each thing individually. I'll show you one more example of this with a wah-wah pedal. So I go over to scene number 3 over here, and I still have the delay engaged, and now I'm using a wah with another wonderful power of the Axe FX here, which is that I can attach an automatic wah-wah. That's basically representing your foot going up and down on the wah-wah pedal at that speed, and I have all these parameters to change the speed and how far you go, but I just left it at the default there. And now I can, again, have a clean signal of the wah. Just the amp and cabinet, the distortion pedal I have in front of it, are getting treated by the wah. It's not wahing any of the reverb. It's not wahing any of the delay. And so I get each one of these effects very clearly mixed together in a pleasant way that I want to hear. Again, now, if I move the wah up in front here, it changes the entire character. Now, a cool enough sound on its own right, but not what I was looking for. I put it after the reverb. I'm wahing out the reverb. It's really extreme there. I needed this to have the processing that works subtly side by side. So that was just a couple great examples of how working with effects in parallel and using these lanes on the Axe Edit software can work. I can stick anything in there, separate cabinets, separate amps, and have them running against each other, phasers, anything of the many, many effects they have included within the Axe FX unit. And of course, this is something you could replicate in any studio situation with multi-tracking and parallel processing that you use there. But the power is that I can do this on my live rig. Now, there are other modeling effects units out there. As I mentioned before, the Kemper, you've got the Helix and the Head Rush, and they all do some pretty cool things too. But I challenge anyone to show me another effects unit that can do quite what the Axe FX does with the same amount of processing power, number and quality of effects, and ability to put all that together in such a comprehensive and well processed, as I was saying, manner. I'm waiting. Go ahead. Flame me in the comments below. I know you want to. So all that said, I hope I gave you a nice glimpse into a very powerful piece of gear and one aspect of it that really makes it stand apart. If you have any questions or comments, any additional thoughts on this, of course, leave them below in the comment section, and I get back to everybody as soon as I can. And until next time, guys, keep making great music. Hey friends, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. It makes the whole world better.